I fell into a deep and very restful sleep and immediately began a wonderful dream. I started to dream about all the neat and wonderful things I'd be able to do after I reached my retirement age and have a substantial amount of potatoes in my potato cellar to eat, enjoy, and stay healthy and stay happy during my retirement years. But the dream immediately turned into a horrifying nightmare. In this nightmare, I became aware that more of my potatoes had gone bad than I had counted on. How could this be? How could this be? If this was the case, then I would not have enough potatoes in my potato cellar to let me eat 10 potatoes every day so I could stay healthy and I could stay happy throughout the 10 years that I plan to live in retirement. The nightmare was so bad that I awoke and found myself sitting in my bed in a cold sweat. I was also highly depressed. How could this be, I thought? I had so carefully planned for my retirement. What could have gone wrong? I was so concerned about the prospects of possibly losing much of my retirement savings that I spent the next several days thinking about where I could have gone wrong in my reasoning. After several agonizing days, I finally figured it out. When I first started saving potatoes for retirement, I did so for a year and discovered that half the potatoes went bad after a year. That's why I decided I needed to dig potatoes at the rate of 20 potatoes a day instead of 10 potatoes a day. The mistake that I had made in my reasoning was that after the first year, when I put the first year's potatoes in the potato cellar, no more of those potatoes that were already in the potato cellar would go bad. That was a very bad assumption. My potato cellar is just a hole in the ground. The potato cellar is not refrigerated and it's not a freezer. The potatoes go into the ground just like I dig them up. So basically, they are a natural product subject to natural decay. With that the case, I then concluded that I should estimate that half of all the potatoes in the potato cellar at any point in time will go bad during a year's time. This is a much higher loss rate than simply half the potatoes in the first year they go into the potato cellar. Now that I had figured out where my original assumptions had gone wrong, I had to make some tough choices. The first tough choice that I had to make was to accept the fact that all my potato savings would eventually rot away given enough time. This being due to natural causes. This was primarily due to the fact that I live a primitive life. My only savings for retirement are raw potatoes, and that raw potatoes naturally decay over time. Even though I could continue to dig potatoes and hopefully put enough in the potato cellar to last me for a while, the potatoes that were in my potato cellar at the time I started retirement would continue to rot away. This meant that I would need to save potatoes at a much faster rate than I had assumed if I was to have any chance of having enough potatoes around to survive me during retirement. It was beginning to look like the amount of potatoes that I needed would be huge.